All right. Well, did you know that cheese is the #1 requested food gift? A recent poll was done, and 19% of people said that they would like to get cheese as a gift. It actually beat out chocolate by 6%. Because cheese is so requested, it only feels right to talk about cheese and the best kind of cheese, which is Wisconsin cheese. It comes from Wisconsin. The Wisconsin dairy industry is the #1 dairy producing industry in the United States. Incredible to talk about this because I am from Wisconsin and I live by a number of dairy farms. My thesis is the Wisconsin dairy industry has a robust history, economic effect, and cultural effect on the state of Wisconsin. Just to briefly talk about the history, in 1841, Miss Ann Pickett started her first home cheese factory. This may seem like a random fact, but it's just important to know that the cheese industry started off in Wisconsin with a home cheese factory, and that's relevant because a lot of the cheese factories in Wisconsin throughout the state are family owned, which seems like bad for jobs, but there's 146,000 jobs in dairy, so the ownership is mainly done by families, but the jobs are spread out throughout the community. In 1885, Colby cheese was invented in Colby, Wisconsin. It's a very popular variety of cheese that's sold all across the United States now. And this just kind of shows how cheese production was getting more and more, I guess, lively in Wisconsin, and it actually started creation of other cheeses. In 1921, Wisconsin became the first state to establish cheese grading standards and to ensure consistent quality and flavor. Again, this is just another step up in the history of cheese, showing that Wisconsin created a lot of standards to get its cheese to the almost legendary status that it has today. Today, Wisconsin makes 2.6 billion pounds of cheese a year and wins more awards for it than any other state. That's a lot of cheese. We actually have to bring in milk from other states to keep up with our high production of cheeses. Some of the economic effects. Dairy actually means more to Wisconsin than potatoes do to Idaho, and citrus does to Florida. Idaho potatoes roughly bring in about $7 billion a year, but dairy to Wisconsin brings in $26.5 billion a year to the Wisconsin economy. It supports 146,000 jobs with a job multiplier of 1.23 jobs, so every job inside dairy supports 1.23 jobs outside of the dairy industry through packaging and distribution and stuff like that. 90% of Wisconsin milk is made into cheese, 90% of which is sold outside the state. So that's a lot of sustainability to the dairy industry of Wisconsin, keeping the economic benefits of the dairy industry going and ensuring that it will happen year after year. On average, each American eats 33.3 pounds of cheese a year. Again, goes to show the sustainability of the dairy industry. A little known fact is that Culver's actually could employ 5,800 of Wisconsin's dairy cows year-round as they get a large amount of their milk from Wisconsin, which again goes to show the sustainability and the quality of Wisconsin dairy. Some cultural effects are Wisconsin's dairy industry belongs to all of the state's people, which was said in an article called Dairy Affecting All of Wisconsin's People. This just, if you read further in that article, it talks about spreading out the jobs and how the dairy industry is spread out all throughout Wisconsin. Roughly 45% of Wisconsin is has agricultural lands, and about a third of that is just for the dairy industry. And since that's all spread out through Wisconsin, that's really spreading out the jobs, and any place that you work and have prolonged exposure to is going to have a cultural effect on you. 63% of U.S. dairy products are produced in urban-influenced environments. If you know anything about Wisconsin, you'll know that more of the urban areas are going to be in the southern or eastern portion of Wisconsin. And the fact that 63% of those dairy products are produced in urban-influenced environments just goes to show how spread out that the dairy industry is. Larry Mueller said that we operate a dairy farm in a city of 19,000 residents, and at times it's a challenge, but there are benefits, such as being 15 minutes away from Madison. If you know anything about Madison, you'll know it's the Wisconsin state capital. The Badgers play there. University of Wisconsin is there. So it's a very large town, so just goes to show again that influence that the dairy industry has by being so close to the urban environments in Wisconsin. I have a personal example of the cultural effect that dairy can have on an environment. In my town, there was a dairy farm located really close to my house. I had a lot of friends from high school that ended up working there, and you can see the cultural effect that it has on the community through the ways that that job at the dairy industry helped shape what they decided to go to college for. A lot of people decided to go to college for agricultural things, or a lot of people decided to stay back and continue working at the dairy farm just because it was very close and very convenient form of income. Through the speech, I hope that you could see that the Wisconsin dairy industry has a robust history, economic, and cultural effect on the state of Wisconsin.